Hello, this is Jonathan with mountainwellbeing.com, and I want to talk with you about using colloidal silver for animals. I've used colloidal silver with my dogs for ever since I started using colloidal silver almost 20 years ago, and I've had nothing but great results. Sometimes it almost seems like it works better on animals than it does humans. And again, there's no placebo effect with animals because what you see is what you get. They don't know what you're giving them. I always tell them it's their medicine and just drink it up. The way I give it to my dog is I put it in a small little bowl and he just drinks right out of it. I tell him it's his medicine and he drinks it right up. If your dog doesn't do that, you can use a dropper and try to squirt it in their mouth or something like that. A syringe without the needle on the end works very well. But ideally, you want to give it to the animal straight, just like you would take it yourself. You're not going to get them to hold it under their tongue. That's okay. I just err on the side of giving my dog too much when he needs it. I've used it for kennel cough, for hot spots, for any kind of topical healing needs. If my dog runs through a barbed wire fence and gets all cut up, I break out either the colloidal silver spray. I really like to use the spray on them, or the gel. It makes it easier to apply, either the gel or the spray silver. I've given colloidal silver to a local rancher who's used it on his bison. His bison had eye infections, and so I gave him some silver. He sprayed the colloidal silver in the eyes of the bison, and when I saw him the very next week, he said all of the bison's eye infections have cleared up. So it works very well for animals. One time I had one of my hound dogs, he had a lump that showed up on his foot that came out of nowhere. He's an old dog, he's no longer around anymore, but he was an old dog, had lumps all over, these fatty lumps like old dogs get, no problem. But this one lump that was very different, very hard, just came out of nowhere, showed up on his foot. I was concerned about that, so I took him to the vet. The vet stuck a needle in it, put the cells on a slide under a microscope, and told me that they could see him dividing and that, yes, it was cancer. They wanted to amputate his leg. He was 13 years old at the time. I wasn't going to let him do that, so I asked the vet what the natural remedy was. The vet said there was none. I didn't like that answer, so I went home and I started researching online, and I kept coming across different forums of people giving colloidal silver to their dog for tumors and the tumors going away. So I figured I have nothing to lose. I have lots of colloidal silver on hand. The easiest way to give it to that particular dog at the time was to put it on his food. So he doesn't always drink water, but he always eats his food. So I just poured it on his food. Ideally, when you take colloidal silver, you don't want to take it with food. You want to take it ideally on an empty stomach, but with food it's going to be better than not at all. So morning and night when I fed him breakfast and dinner, I just poured a little bit of colloidal silver on his food. I'd never measured. It was probably a couple ounces each time. So he was getting many ounces of colloidal silver each day. And over the course of about 1 month, he had a tumor that was larger than a quarter, and it slowly started shrinking down to a nickel and a penny and a dime, and then after about 30 days it completely disappeared altogether and it never came back. He lived healthily and happily for another 2 years until he was 15 years old. The tumor never returned. He was perfectly fine. So yeah, for me it seemed to, and my dog, it seemed to have worked. I can't make any claims. Do your own research, do your own experiments, but I'm just presenting to you my personal testimonial of what happened with my dog. You can use colloidal silver on any animal, pretty much any part of any animal, but my only caution is using it on fish. And if you're going to use it on fish, do your own research. But colloidal silver kills bacteria, and bacteria is essential for the health of a fish aquarium. So you would not want to pour colloidal silver into your aquarium. I've heard of people taking the fish and putting them in a hospitalization tank, basically just an isolated tank for treatment, and they use colloidal silver on the fish that way, and it was successful. And then once the fish heals, they put the fish back into the aquarium. Again, you need to know what you're doing if you're doing that. My only caution is just don't add colloidal silver to your main fish aquarium because it will kill the bacteria that makes the biofilter work. Other than that, you can use it on any part of any animal. You're most likely going to have success. You can use as much as you need to. It's a very safe product. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'm going to show you now how I use it on my dog Brutus. So I'm here with my dog Brutus. He's 10 years old. He's a Plott hound. He's a really great dog. And I use colloidal silver on him anytime he has any kind of skin injuries or infections like kennel cough things like that. It's very easy to give it to Brutus. There's ways to give it to dogs that aren't as accepting of colloidal silver as Brutus dog is, but and I'll show you that here in a second. But basically, if your dog will take colloidal silver, the easiest way to do it is just to give it to them and tell them it's medicine. That's what I do. So what I do is I pour colloidal silver in something small like this. This is probably more than I would need to give him at one time, but he's probably not going to drink the whole thing. And my trick is I just tell him it's medicine, and he usually drinks it. We'll see if he does. Here, boy, drink your medicine. Good boy, it's medicine. Good boy. Good boy, drink your medicine. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. He'll generally drink colloidal silver anytime I give it to him, especially if he doesn't feel well. It's like he just knows what I'm telling him. When I say it's his medicine, he kind of understands that and he wants to drink it. It doesn't have a bad taste, so there's nothing objectionable to him, like you know, as far as taste. It's really easy. If a dog does not want to take colloidal silver, and especially for a cat's not going to just do this for you. But you can get a syringe like this at your local drugstore. Obviously, take the syringe off, the needle part off, and just use it like this. And you can use the syringe to suck up colloidal silver like that, and then you can just slowly put it in the corner of their mouth and start squeezing, and generally they'll start licking it like that. You can give it to a cat like this, you can give it to almost any dog, and they'll take it, and you can continue to give it to them like that. That's the easiest way to give it to a pet internally. Topically, obviously it's really simple. You just, whatever the problem is, you just spray the silver where it is. If his eye was goopy and kind of oozing because it was infected or irritated, then I just take a spray of colloidal silver like this and spray it straight into his eyes. You can kind of hold it open a little bit and the silver gets in there. It works really great for droopy eyes. A lot of times hound dogs like Brutus will get the droopiness in the corner of their eyes. A lot of poodles will get that. So this is a really great solution for that. Say he was running and he got tangled up in a little bit of barbed wire and he had some cuts on him. Same thing, you just spray the silver. If this was a cut, you just kind of pull the fur back and spray it in on the skin like that. Really simple, really easy. Another alternative is to use the gel. If he has any kind of sometimes he runs through poison ivy and the underside of him where he doesn't have fur will get all red and irritated and have like rashes and inflammation and heat. The gel is great for that. So put a little gel in your fingers, rub it on wherever he's got the poison ivy or whatever's going on with him. He's got cuts or you know, whatever the problem is, just put the silver on there and repeat it as often as necessary. If he licks this, it's completely safe. There's nothing harmful in here. He can lick it. It's not going to hurt him at all. Safe to use on any animal. And like I said, they kind of, at least for dogs, they kind of understand what you're telling them. They know that you're giving them medicine, and at least for my dog, he doesn't object to it. It's really simple. So again, I've used colloidal silver for many uses on my animals, from eye infections to kennel cough to tumors, like I mentioned earlier in the video, any kind of skin irritation or redness or rashes, things like that. You could use it for oral health. You can kind of just spray it in their mouth if they had something going on. Any kind of injury to your pet, definitely try using colloidal silver. It works great. Works great on any animal, for you name it, any pet, any animal. For internal use for animals, I wouldn't really worry about measuring. Generally a 1/4 teaspoon per 10 pounds of body weight is considered a therapeutic dose, but for a dog it's okay if they have a little bit more. I never really measure too closely. I just give it to my dog. I'd rather err on the side of giving too much than too little, and it works really great for me. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to answer questions of how to use colloidal silver on your pets. And if you have any testimonials of your experiences using colloidal silver on your pets, please share in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And thank you for watching. This is Jonathan with Mountain Wellbeing and Brutus Dog. I will see you on the next video. Thank you. Have a good day.